Daesh has claimed responsibility for the attack on a military parade in Iran. In a video seen by TRT World, members of the terror group are seen claiming to be on their way to carry out the shooting. 25 people were killed when gunmen opened fire on Saturday in the city of Avaz, targeting a viewing platform where officials had gathered to watch an annual event marking the start of Iran's 1980s war with Iraq. Iranian President Hassan Rouhani accused U.S.-backed Gulf states of providing financial and military support for anti-government groups in Iran. The United Arab Emirates has denied any involvement. Rouhani says his country is ready to confront the United States and its allies in the region.
The small puppet countries that we see in the region are backed by America, and the United States is provoking them and giving them the necessary capabilities to commit these crimes. They will have no effect on the will of our people and our path. Our people have withstood great crimes. Iran's response is forthcoming within the framework of law and our national interests. The perpetrators will be arrested and brought to justice.
Well, joining us now is Mohammad Marandi. He is a professor at Tehran University and a political analyst. So, Professor, I want to get your thoughts on Daesh's claim that it is responsible and that video that it's released apparently showing fighters traveling to the site. What do you make of that, and why do you think Daesh would target Iran?
Well, it is probably, if Daesh is involved, a joint operation, because the Al-Ahwaziyah group, which is supported by Saudi Arabia and the United Arab Emirates, their deputy went on a television supported by Saudi Arabia, funded by Saudi Arabia, called Iran International, almost immediately after the attack, and took responsibility for the attack. And the Iranian intelligence services have also evidence pointing to the fact that their operatives were involved. And the advisor to the Deputy Crown Prince of the United Arab Emirates, Mohammed bin Zayed, his advisor basically said that this was not a terrorist attack, it was a military operation, and bigger operations will be happening in future. So now there are two theories. One is that ISIS is also, this is a joint operation and they're working together. And the second is that the Saudis may be trying to deflect attention away from the admissions made by the Al-Ahwaziyah group, which is connected to them, and the United Arab Emirates officials' admissions as well. Mm-hmm. So it's not quite clear, but what is clear for the Iranians is that the Al-Ahwaziyah group, which is supported by the United States, they have offices in Europe, and they're heavily funded by the Saudis and the Emirates, that they are involved.
Mm-hmm. So how do you think Iran will likely respond to this latest claim?
Well, if Daesh is involved, it shows the very complicated relationship that exists between ISIS and other groups that are supported by Saudi Arabia. Remember, ISIS was supported by Saudi Arabia for a very long time, and it was only later on when it became the so-called official enemy that everyone distanced themselves from it. Back then, they were a freedom-fighting group according to Western media and according to Saudi media. Almost immediately after Mohammed bin Salman did an interview last year and said, "We want to take the war to Tehran," we had an attack in Tehran. He said, "We want to take the war to Iran." We had an attack in Tehran on the Iranian parliament, where ordinary people who were going there to see their MPs were killed. So the Iranians see this as an escalation by the Saudis, by the Emiratis, but led by the United States, because all of this increased support for terrorists that are based in Kurdish Iraqi territory, on the border with Pakistan and other areas, all of this has increased at a time when the United States is trying to increase pressure on Iran. So this is a part of a broader package that the United States has brought forward in order to weaken Iran.
Iran has said that its response to this attack and those responsible would be serious. What exactly does this mean, and how could this escalate?
Well, I think it will depend on what conclusions the intelligence services in Iran come to, and the extent of the involvement of countries like Saudi Arabia and the Emirates. We know, for example, just recently that after attacks were made on Iranian soldiers from Kurdish Iraq, that Iran fired 7 precision missiles and destroyed their headquarters, killing a couple of dozen of their commanders and fighters. So what sort of response will Iran show? It's unclear, but I think it does not bode well for Saudi Arabia and the Emirates. One of the things that's being discussed right now in Iran is to begin stop-and searches on Saudi ships or ships bound to Saudi and Emirati ports and vice versa. But at the moment, we do not know what the decision will be.